The Blue Zone Solution: Eating and Living Like the World's Healthiest People. Dan Buettner. Published in 2015, The Blue Zone Solution is the eagerly expected follow-up to Dan Buettner's seminal book on living longer and healthier, titled The Blue Zones. If Buettner's debut delved into the what of longevity, Solutions studies the how. It takes things a step further in terms of science and reveals what individuals can do in their own lives and communities to emulate the healthy habits of centenarians across the globe. So, get ready to discover the dietary and lifestyle secrets of the healthiest and longest living people on the planet, and prepare to incorporate their life-extending habits into your own life. Top longevity foods from the Blue Zones. In 2005, in a widely read National Geographic cover story, Dan Buettner introduced the phrase Blue Zone to describe a region of the world where a higher than usual number of people live much longer than average. 3 years later, he published The Blue Zones, an in-depth exploration of 5 of the world's confirmed longevity hotspots: Okinawa, Japan; Sardinia, Italy; Icaria, Greece; Nicoya, Costa Rica; and Loma Linda, California. In the first part of the Blue Zone Solution, Buettner shares the top longevity foods from each of these areas. Okinawa. Okinawans eat something from the land and from the sea every day. Their favorite dish includes bitter melons, tofu, sweet potatoes, garlic, turmeric, brown rice, green tea, shiitake mushrooms, and seaweeds. Sardinia and Icaria. Sardinians and Icarians share a similar Mediterranean diet. Olive oil, lemons, beans, and greens are common ingredients in both cultures. Sardinians also drink goat's milk and some wine, and eat flat or sourdough bread. Icarians enjoy potatoes, wild greens, black-eyed peas, and a cup of coffee from time to time. Nicoya. Fruits and vegetables, especially papayas, bananas, and peaches, account for about 1/4 of the typical daily diet of a rural Costa Rican, with another quarter of their diet consisting of grains. Black beans and yams are also prevalent. Loma Linda, California. The Adventists of the Loma Linda community, the only blue zone in America, are pescatarians. They eat plant-based food, but also enjoy fish regularly, particularly salmon. They drink a lot of water and soy milk and eat a handful of nuts almost every day. Obviously, the particular foods that are more important to Blue Zones centenarians vary from one culture to the next. To make your food selection easier, Buettner and his colleagues devised the following 10 dietary guidelines. In their opinion, you will live to 100 if you merely stick to them. No exaggerations there. Number 1. Plant seed. Ensure that 95% of your food comes from a plant or a plant product. With the exception of the vegetarian Loma Linda Adventists, all other Blue Zone inhabitants consume meat. However, they do so sparingly, using meat only as a side dish or a celebratory food. So, limit animal protein in your diet and replace it with beans, greens, yams, and sweet potatoes, fruits, nuts, and seeds. To do this, try to keep your favorite fruits and vegetables on hand. Also, start using olive oil like butter and stock up on whole grains. Number 2. Retreat from meat. Consume meat no more than twice a week. Averaged over all Blue Zones, people eat no more than 2 ounces of meat at a time, 5 times per month. That's about half a chicken breast fillet or a pork chop the size of a deck of cards per serving. Moreover, the meat the Blue Zone's inhabitants consume comes exclusively from free-roaming animals, chickens, lambs, or pigs, spared from hormones, antibiotics, and torture. If you want to live to be 100, avoid eating processed meats and designated 1 or 2 days a week when you are allowed to eat meat. Number 3. Fish is fine. Eat up to 3 ounces of fish daily. According to a long-lasting American health study, the people who live the longest are not vegans or meat eaters, but pescatarians. That is, people who incorporate seafood as the only source of meat in an otherwise plant-based diet. True to this observation, fish is a common part of everyday meals in all of the world's Blue Zones. Make it a part of your diet as well. However, try to steer clear of farmed fish, and if possible, try to favor mid-chain fish such as trout, sardines, snapper, and anchovies. Number 4. Diminish dairy. Minimize your consumption of cow's milk and dairy products. Believe it or not, up until 10,000 years ago, humans didn't consume dairy. As a result, our digestive systems are still not optimized for milk and milk products, excepting, of course, human milk. Case in point, the majority of the world's population is still lactose intolerant. To minimize your consumption of cow's milk and dairy products, try almond or coconut milk. Also, don't worry about calcium. Unlike in the West, where we rely on milk for calcium and protein, people in the Blue Zones get these nutrients from plants. You can do it too. A cup of cooked kale provides just as much calcium as a cup of milk. Number 5. Occasional egg. Eat no more than 3 eggs per week. Just like meat, egg is a side dish in the blue zones and comes from animals that range freely and do not receive antibiotics or hormones. If you want to be as healthy as them, you should buy only small eggs from cage-free chickens, consume them cautiously, and regularly combine them with fruit and other plant-based foods for breakfast. For example, Okinawans boil eggs in their soup. Nicoyans fold a fried egg into a corn tortilla, and Icarians and Sardinians eat their eggs with bread and olives. That said, it's not a bad idea to abstain from eggs altogether. It's not difficult to achieve this. Just substitute eggs for scrambled tofu. According to Buettner, it is both healthier and tastier. Number 6. Daily dose of beans. Eat at least a half cup of cooked beans daily. Beans are the cornerstone of every Blue Zone's diet in the world, states straightforwardly Buettner. On average, inhabitants of the Blue Zones eat at least 4 times as many beans as most Westerners do. Nicoyans favor black beans. Icarians and Sardinians are fond of white beans, lentils, and garbanzo. Finally, Okinawans have a preference for soybeans. They all consume at least a half cup of beans per day, which provides most of the vitamins and minerals a human being needs. So, make sure your kitchen pantry has a variety of beans to prepare. Buy dry beans when you can, and canned only if fat and sugar are not among the ingredients stated on the label. Also, try to teach your children to eat beans from an early age. As Buettner notes, even though it might seem as something revolutionary, you won't be doing anything new. In the Bible's book of Daniel, chapter 1, verse 1 through 21, a 2-week bean diet is said to improve the health of children. Number 7. Slash sugar. Consume no more than 7 added teaspoons a day. Natural sugar has always been part of the human diet. Found in fruits, vegetables, and even milk, this type of sugar is not the problem. In fact, North Americans consume about the same amount of naturally occurring sugars as the Blue Zone's centenarians. However, the latter are not even familiar with the concept of added sugar, which is one of the biggest modern health hazards in the Western world. Mixed into sodas, muffins, sauces, and ever present in snacks and sweets, the amount of added sugar in the food supply rose almost 30% in the last 3 decades of the 20th century. In other words, food producers have insidiously added more than 22 teaspoons of sugar in our average daily diet. Fight back by making honey your go-to sweetener. Next, limit desserts to 100 calories. Finally, avoid most sugar-sweetened products altogether, especially soft drinks. Number 8. Snack on nuts. Eat 2 handfuls of nuts per day. According to a Harvard study that followed 100,000 people for 3 decades, nut eaters have a 20% lower mortality rate than people who don't eat nuts. Unsurprisingly, the Blue Zone's centenarians eat nuts regularly. Nicoyans adore pistachios, Icarians and Sardinians almonds, and Adventists eat all kinds of nuts. So, stock up on a variety of nuts yourself and incorporate them into your regular meals as a protein source. Take packages of nuts for travel and keep nuts at your office for mid-afternoon snacks. Also, if you are not against experimenting, try adding nuts to your soups and salads. You won't regret it. Number 9. Sour on bread. Replace common bread with sourdough or 100% whole wheat bread. As in the case of sugar, bread is not a problem in itself. After all, it has been a human dietary staple for at least 10,000 years. However, the bread most Westerners buy is made with refined bleached white flour, which metabolizes quickly into sugar. Moreover, it contains gluten, which creates digestive problems for many people. The bread the Blue Zone's centenarians consume is different. It is made either from a variety of whole grains, such as wheat, rye, and barley, or with naturally occurring bacteria, which digest the starches and glutens, sourdough. Put simply, if you're going to eat bread, be sure to make it yourself. Or, if you're buying it, look for heavy, dense, minimally processed, 10% whole grain breads that you can't squeeze into a ball. Number 10. Go wholly whole. Eat foods that are recognizable for what they are. As defined by Buettner, whole food is one that is made of a single ingredient, raw, cooked, ground, or fermented, and not highly processed. Almost all of the food consumed by Blue Zone's centenarians, and, unfortunately, almost none of the food we eat, can be described in this manner. The message is clear. Start avoiding factory-made foods, foods wrapped in plastic, food products made with more than 5 ingredients, and any pre-made or ready-to-eat meal. Instead, start shopping for foods at your local farmers markets or community-supported farms. If you can't recognize how something tastes, or even what it is, by the looks of it, then it's probably not a food you should eat. 4 always, 4 to avoid. If, by any chance, the 10 food rules just described seem daunting to you, worry not. Buettner and his team devised even simpler guidelines. They grouped most foods into 8 categories and divided those into 2 groups, 4 to avoid and 4 to embrace. The 4 food groups to avoid are sugar-sweetened beverages, salty snacks, processed meats, and packaged sweets. Conversely, the appropriately labeled 4 always groups consists of beans, fruits, nuts, and 100% whole wheat bread. Stick to this simple rule of thumb and you'll be fine. Making food and dining sacred. 6 powerful food practices. Knowing which foods to eat is great, but it is still only the first step toward reaching that coveted 100 as a healthy individual. People in the blue zones live longer, not only because they eat healthier, but also because they have developed habits and practices that create, in the words of Buettner, a virtuous circle between food, healthy social networks, moving naturally, strong spiritual life, and overall well-being. These are the 6 most powerful. 1. Breakfast like a king. Rather than lunch, make breakfast the biggest meal of your day. 2. Cook at home. Save eating out for celebrations. Most of the time, cook and eat at home. Prepare your work lunch the night before. 3. Hara hachibu. The 2 millennia-old Confucian adage can be translated loosely as, plan before you start eating to stop eating when you are 80% full. 4. Fast facts. Occasionally go without any food, even if only for 6 or 12 hours a day. 5. Eat with friends and family. Never eat mindlessly, while on the go or while doing something else. Plan family lunches and dinners with friends. 6. Celebrate and enjoy food. Feel free to indulge at holidays and family celebrations. Don't deprive yourself completely of foods you might like. Treat yourself from time to time. Final notes. The Blue Zone's Solutions completes what the Blue Zones started 10 years before. Based on long-lasting research and several diets and lifestyles that have verifiably worked for centuries, together, these 2 books form your best bet to a long and healthy life. No exaggerations there either.
Hi, I'm Rhonda, and this is an exclusive audiobook video recorded for the Audiobook Master Channel. Enjoy your audiobook and have fun learning. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button so you'll get updated on our next upload. If you liked the video, give us a thumbs up and say your thoughts about the book we just covered. Do you want to listen to a summary or review of a book that we haven't covered in the past? Say it in the comments below or send us a message. Don't forget to check our other uploads. Enjoy listening!